is not the angle that I like. This angle's not what I had in mind. Let's try and update it a little bit. I actually was able to pull that off, but the phone's probably going to get knocked down out of there. Now, I am going to actively sound check this and find out how solid this connection is right here. I've got about 20 minutes at this stop, according to their tracker. So, let's actually check this out right now. Yeah, I gotta do detail cleaning in here. I'll just flip this shit down here and I'll vacuum it later. Okay. So the first test, I did not have good Wi-Fi, so it's kind of funny the way pieces of what I was saying got chopped together as what's captured. Looks like the bit rate is not quite keeping up. It's alright, it's having some drops, but I am using one of the public Wi-Fis I have access to with one of my internet plans. So I turned a corner in what I'm doing with the project very recently. So I have to now be able to explain to everybody what is my business, what's it for, what does it do, and why. The why is maybe the most important. The why is to explain that for me to do business, it can't be for sale. I cannot sell my business to people. The thing that's natural to me is essentially the completely genuine act, the wholly voluntary behavior, like complete voluntarism. So I refer to this completely voluntary thing that you might do as going. It's going. When you are voluntarily doing actions, you're going. You're going. It's a green circle. Go. So I have realized that I can compute in this way that integrates my going. It integrates the actions I need to do. And so I gradually, just with that little piece of insight, learned that my most healthy life is moving around, is extremely nomadic. And all forms of work that I can do in going between different locations kind of constantly or often makes me healthier. I have better mental health to do this. So, like, I heard of a guy who delivers books to the free book thingies just because he likes doing it around the town. It's like that. It's not for sale. What you're doing has an impact. So you're doing it in the action of the impact, like the dance. The meaning of the dance is the steps you're doing. So I have to do business this way because that's what feels natural to me. It does not feel natural to me to sell things. Selling is not the purpose of life. Purchasing is. That's the purchase of life. But I've been very frustrated lately because my internet isn't very solid for many places I find myself stopped waiting or going through. It's just trash. I can barely even function, much less remain connected to those I'm in communication with, much less broadcast or basically compute. The issue is being able to compute in a communications sense, in the connectivity sense. And so I fell into what we would say would be the enlightened routine of life, where I have a very clear structure for the work I'm going to do Monday through Friday, and then how I'm going to use the time after that end of the work time hours on each of those days, and then what I'm going to do differently on Friday evening up through the next Monday starting. So I have to solve two main issues for this, because I need to power different equipment and carry different equipment with me. So I got this. And this isn't the greatest and most expensive one you can buy, but for exactly what I'm doing, I felt this is the best one that I was able to find. I looked through quite a bit of research to see what has changed. I was originally eyeing something called the Goal Zero Yeti. It was like maybe a $500 or $600 unit. I think this one here is a much better unit. It's about half of that price point, and I got a little discount on it as a promotion, kind of helping me cancel the tax of the purchase. But if I can power my equipment, then I do not need to sit in front of the computer waiting for things to charge. That's a very important thing. And then I need to solve the internet problem. So I signed up for a service called the Calyx Institute, Calyx. I found various options, but basically what I'm upgrading from already is trying to use a smartphone's hotspot and connectivities, trying to tether those and share with Bluetooth. It's just the service provider I have does not have good enough performance. How much better will the next one be? I can't predict that, so I just have to try it out and see if this device that's being offered with unthrottled and uncapped service plan, meant to be a portable ISP, I will see, does it do any better, or am I going to have to go ahead and upgrade to their 5G tier? And even with that said, you don't even, with a newer kind of gen tech, sometimes it has its own problems. Even though it will work great in some areas, there may be some areas where the problems are worse. Handover type of issues. So that's something I'm very familiar with from 9 years working for a mobile ISP. So I approach this from, I know where I'm upgrading from, I know what my expectations are about being able to use portable internet for the ways I am on the internet, to listen to people's broadcasts and content, be connected to them, and be constantly iterating a communications vision, a vision of using our technology and our computers for the purpose of really listening to each other, of really seeing each other and being seen. Basically beholding and expressing. So, point of this segment was just to present these goals, where I'm at with it, the way I had to reinvent my process just now to make upgrades so I can get that full sanity that I am, like, I need it. I have to act out my purpose. I have to act out the actions I feel called to, or else I'm not even really here. I'm the same as being dead if you don't act out. If you don't act out what it is that you feel called to act out. Change all this shit. Let's just look at it, because fucking why the hell not? Just look at it. So there's something inside of here, because it's got weight. That's your charging fuckaroo. That's your charging fuckaroo. There's another one. This is my other device that I had, which is also a jump starter for the car, so I'm just going to continue carrying it for that purpose. I doubt this comes with a completely 100% charge or much charge at all, but this is our unboxing. So this thing is not a lithium ion. It's a different kind of battery that's expected to have much greater cycle capacities, so this will last longer for the money we spent on it. DC in for charging. And then you have, the only thing I'm baffled about on the design of this is this. Why is this here? Maybe just like in case of apocalypse and you happen to have any peripherals that you just only have that charger for, alright, you're okay, you're covered. I mean, I guess it's an in case of emergency kind of an accommodation that they included here. So there's a power saving mode you need to be aware of with this, which is basically that it switches off if it thinks it's done charging. I'm not going to use that for when I do sleep streams because I want it to continue sustaining the charge, so I'm not starting with a low charge. Yeah, this might actually be in like a full and not initialized boot, so we're going to need to check the instructions, as I'm just wantonly tapping the buttons and trying them like a child receiving an Xmas gift. But I'm hopeful for the Calyx because they seem to be absolutely designed for somebody who needs portable internet. And if we end up having to go with one of the more expensive ones, like the ones that are recommended for the commercial IRL stream platforms, I'm not opposed to it. This one here is going to end up costing me around $45 a month. all considered if when I go up to their yearly at a time support purchase. We'll look through these instructions, but basically I would usually just record a segment like this and then integrate it into my Twitch stream, but I feel like I can basically cut out a step by having a broadcast VOD to start from that is just embedded into my channel, and then I can cut or pull pieces from it into the final piece the way that I do. If I can't get the Calyx Institute's hotspot device, which runs through T-Mobile and Sprint, to actually solve most of my internet problems, to get 200 output, I think you need to get at least 240 out for devices that just need more power to run. So I'll try it, but it relies on a loophole with most service providers in order to get it to even play nice with those types of routers. They support a SIM card for it, but you're doing some intense IT, which I'm capable of. I can find tutorials for or tinker, and I'm sure I'll be able to get it working. But then you are definitely relying on and depending on the loophole in the carrier, in the plan, to go ahead and operate that way, to basically claim your liberty for completely portable ISP through the ports and channels that are available to you on that kind of a SIM card service. So I would much rather support the ISP who's geared exactly at what we need to make it uncapped and unthrottled, to understand there are people in the world whose work happens as they go throughout different locations. And in order to start up this communications idea I have, and discuss the ideas that are strictly about voluntary behavior, I have to get rid of some of these frustrations that are causing unnecessarily interpolation delays into what I'm creating. How I got around that up to this point was by mainly just recording voice memos and then bringing those into the content, into their compilation form. But what I'm going more toward is create more often. So to do that effectively, I have to essentially stop having backlogs of those offline content and have a lot more of effective, on the moment, on the spot, spontaneity capture. So that's what I found to be the true value of this format, the format where you broadcast and vodcast instead of sitting there and generating a file on your PC and then fucking chopping, editing, and waiting the hours and hours and hours that shit takes to process, and managing files and file storage devices and blah. Like, it's a bunch of shit. Broadcasting and vodcasting, when you have everything set up so it will be reliable, is superior, because you can then go in and just, if you want to make different slices or different cuts, I've been doing that with a Twitch highlighter. I think that's probably going to be more usable for something I'm obviously making for the purpose of cutting it into a final version. And so, as opposed to this, like how it's made, spontaneity content, where I'm just going to be inputting it into a constant feed under each title. Like in this one, it's called what am I doing and what is it for? In terms of my business, what is my business? That's a title that will go on and on. I'm trying to describe how take something that others are just not using thoughtfully, and they're just offloading it and onloading it, and they're just purchasing and selling and blah blah blah. They're just fucking money changing. They're the money changers in the temple. So the greatest fool comes in and flips those tables, and he's a table flipper, and he says, I'm gonna actually do something that reflects aliveness in being here. I'm gonna really be here with this. So his purchase, the thing the greater fool is actually doing with the action of purchase, completely transcends the empty plastic friggin' buy and sell rush around, everybody rushing around for attainments, for property. Like, that's not what it's about. The property leads you to a communication. It leads you to self-communication, and it leads you to collaborating. So the Tao insight in this that I stop with here, that we arrive at, is something I thought of pretty early in creating and in recording narrations, is that you have to create something with an archival frame where you can basically you doesn't even exist until you have it in some form that you can show to somebody else. You pick up the object, hand it to someone else, and then that object may outlive your lifespan, and somebody else may pick it up hundreds of years after you're gone. That once you get something into a form like that it's physically shareable, that's your metaphysics of a true purchase. You've impacted life in a way that others participated in, and you've experienced the multiplayer object, essentially. So that's what communications innovation I'm trying to get into and do and act out as an education startup. And that's how it works. That's why it works.